It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, Godzillathon. King Kong vs. Godzilla. It was simple genius to put two of the most famous monsters together in the battle of the century. It was the American monster against the Japanese monster. It was the East versus the West. And on top of that, this is also the first time both monsters appeared in color. Now, Godzilla had been in hibernation for 7 years, but Kong hadn't been in a film since 1933, and now it was 1962, so it was really about time for him to make a comeback. But realistically, well, nothing here is realistic, but if you were to compare the original Kong with Godzilla, there really wouldn't be much of a fight. Kong was about 25 feet tall, whereas Godzilla was about 167 feet tall, and if you go by the English dub of the first movie, he's 400 feet tall. Besides, regular machine gun bullets from some planes was enough to kill Kong, but Godzilla gets hit by bullets, bombs, and missiles all the time. He's indestructible. Oh, and another thing, he breathes fire, so it's really not fair. But even more hard to believe, it was originally going to be Godzilla vs. Frankenstein. So, scrapping the idea of the classic stop-motion effects, which are costly and time-consuming, Toho made Kong into a rubber suit and beefed him up to Godzilla's size. But at the end, the two monsters duke it out on the slopes of Mount Fuji. It's awesome. Kong throws rocks. Using his tail, Godzilla flips one of them back. The fire definitely poses a threat, but Kong keeps coming. He's clearly the underdog of the fight. He gets his face smashed right into a rock, and every time he gets up, Godzilla puts him back down. Then there's the drop kick, which is the only bit of stop motion in the movie. Well, it's really not a fair fight. That is until Kong gets struck by lightning. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. Lightning makes him stronger. Another indication that he was originally meant to be Frankenstein. But anyway, this is where the fight really starts. My favorite part is when Kong takes a tree and shoves it down Godzilla's throat. That's hilarious. He should have shoved it up his ass. Then there's this part where they look like two hand puppets. It's great. Now, for years, there was a rumor that there were two endings for the film. Supposedly, in the Japanese version, Godzilla wins, and in the American version, Kong wins. This has been documented in books, and remember, this was before the internet. So, yes, as a kid, I used to go to the library and read about Godzilla. It was hard to even find a video rental store that had a copy of any of these movies. But with the advent of the internet, the truth is out. The double ending is a steaming load of bullshit. However, the film itself was altered a lot for its American release by Universal, adding scenes with American actors and recycling music from their horror classics like The Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon. But anyway, who wins the fight? Well, that's up to the viewer to decide. Check it out. It's a great, fun, cheesy monster movie. Now, as much as I hate to say it, but just for technology's sake, it begs for a remake. If they would remake King Kong vs. Godzilla with love and affection for the original movie, then do it. Come on. Oh yeah. You want to know about the Frankenstein thing, right? Alright, so Willis O'Brien, the creator of the original King Kong, suggested a movie where Kong fights a monster that was created by Dr. Frankenstein by sewing together pieces of different animals. But before production, Toho decided to change Frankenstein to Godzilla. But without wasting the idea, Toho actually made Frankenstein Conquers the World, featuring a Godzilla-sized Frankenstein monster who fights another creature named Baragon. They even made a sequel called War of the Gargantuous, another cult classic about two hairy-ass monsters that fight to the death. Supposedly they spawned from pieces of the Frankenstein monster or something like that, but all references to Frankenstein were deleted in the final film. Now, the Frankenstein monster came from Germany, so I bet that it was pretty disappointing for German fans to see mention of their monster removed from the film. So, I don't know how much of this is true, but from what I've gathered, the German release of the film reinstated Frankenstein in the plot, and not only that, but in several of the Godzilla films they explain that the monsters that Godzilla fights are all created by Frankenstein. And that Jet Jaguar is actually supposed to be King Kong in a robot suit. But anyway, we got a while before we start talking about Jet Jaguar. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming, and this is just Godzilla. I'm not even going to go talk about Gamera yet or anything like that, and I could talk about this stuff for hours. I mean, I just love this shit.